lovely love songs. But, you know, I was wondering where the ideas for love songs keep coming from with you.
Well, it's part of life. You know, it's chemistry, and it just comes. I really don't know where the songs come from. If I knew, maybe I'd bottle it or something and sell it on the market. But it comes. It just comes to you.
Do you have to be in love to write love songs?
I think it helps.
And if you weren't in love, you definitely couldn't write them.
It'd be very hard. No.
You also, in your songs, comes a feeling of wistfulness. And almost rootlessness as well. You know, there's a feeling, particularly in one of the songs you sang about, you talk about L.A. L.A.'s fine. And then you talk about New York, but you can't go back to New York. Almost as though you're stranded between two cultures.
Well, at the time that I wrote that song, which was in the early 70s, I had moved out to L.A. I missed New York very much. I hadn't yet made friends in Los Angeles, and I was kind of lost. And I think the song reflects that.
So it was a song about a particular time in a particular place. It had nothing to do with your upbringing, the background you came from?
Maybe a little bit. We moved around quite a bit when I was a youngster. My dad had shops in Brooklyn, and we moved quite a bit. We lived in Wyoming for a while he was stationed in the Army. So we did move, and I think that did have something to do with it.
What about this business of being born and brought up in Brooklyn? I mean, Barbra Streisand came from there, didn't she? She went to school there, certainly.
Yes, we went to school together, and we sang in the same chorus together. And,
did you?
We did. We didn't know each other then. She sang in the alto section, and I was in the baritone section. We found out years later that we sang for a couple of years together. And but there were a lot of musical people in Brooklyn. I suppose there's a tradition. George Gershwin and Ira Gershwin were from Brooklyn, so there was some footsteps to follow for the youngsters that had any kind of musical talent at all.
You didn't come from your father or your mother, I mean, that initial spark to get out there and to write songs?
Well, my dad was an amateur performer. He performed for benefits and for charities around Brooklyn, and his father did the same thing. So I guess there's a little tradition of performing in the family.
You're 50, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Sorry to say.
You're sorry to say. Has it affected you deeply being 50?
Well, I actually did skip this birthday. Maybe next one will be easier. But I never thought I'd reach this age because, as I say, George Gershwin was the hero in Brooklyn. He unfortunately died very young. He died at 37. And I always thought, while I was writing, that if I could just get a little bit past George Gershwin, I'd be very happy. So when I passed him, I thought, this is all gravy. So I'm actually very happy to...
So it's a celebration, 50 years old.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear it. We all grow a little bit older and the years go by. But 50 years old tends to mean to me, oh dear, it's another step towards middle age, isn't it?
Well, it's middle age and beyond, and, you know...
Let's talk about the frog. Let's cheer ourselves up. You have this mascot which has been not given to you because your fans think of you. They think of a frog. Where on earth did that come from?
There was a song that I wrote in the 70s called I Am I Said, and it told a little bit about a frog who dreamed of being king and then became one. And for some reason it just stuck with people, and I've been getting little frog pictures and little statues and from fans all over the world for years now. And so it's become one of my symbols, that and maybe Jonathan Seagull, another one.
Well, Jonathan Seagull's not too bad, but a frog, I must tell you, is not my kind of favourite idea of a man, isn't it? I mean, they say you've got to kiss a lot of frogs in your life before you find your prince at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Do you mind being kind of associated with a frog?
Not at all, no. And I never do eat frog's legs either.
I hope not. One thing I also discovered about you, which intrigued me as well, because I always feel that you're immersed in your music. I get the impression that you're a tranquil man, and yet you have a passion for motorbikes.
I do have a passion for motorbikes.
Do you go fast on these motorbikes?
No, I go the same speed as the other traffic. I'm not one of these delivery services in London, but I don't know how they survive. But once a year I go with a group of friends of mine. We go out west. We start in Colorado. This year we did it in August, and we went through 6 states, about 3,000 miles. And where there's no traffic, we go on highways that are unused through farmlands and through Indian reservations, and we stay wherever they'll take us, or we sleep out under the stars. And it's a wonderful experience. It's a great change. And the motorcycle is a friend. You know, you depend on it very heavily. And I love riding, and it's one of my real vices. I really love it.
Do you wear a bike hat, and the leather gear as well?
I do wear it when I'm leaving home, so my wife sees me leaving with it, and I put it on a block or two before I get home. But other than that, I take it off. I don't like really wearing the helmet.
And it's a Harley-Davidson, isn't it?
It's a Harley-Davidson.
Oh, do you have more than one?
I have two.
Uh-huh.
One is a cruising bike for long rides, and one is a little bit faster for short sprints around town.
Now, I've been admiring that shirt of yours, and someone told me offset that I should admire it even more. Why should I admire it a lot?
Well, this shirt will be auctioned November 22nd for the Children in Need benefit. Gloria Honeyford will, I believe, do the auctioning, and she asked me for it, and I was very happy to give it to her, so somebody will get it.
But she got there first.
It was made for me, and so I'd be very happy to auction it off and hopefully help some children in need.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Very briefly, you're back next year, that's right, to London.
I'm going to be back next year, hopefully in the spring. I'd like to do some concerts here. We start in December, and with a little bit of luck, sometime maybe the summer or the spring, I'll come back and play England again and be able to do all the songs for my fans.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you very much.
Neil Diamond, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, thank